This is part 3 of my series on Beethoven's Diabelli-Variations. If you haven't seen part 1 and 2 yet, pause the video and go watch them first. The links are up here or down below in the description box. As always, if you enjoy this content, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. In the last episode I talked about how Beethoven's Diabelli-Variations can seem kind of postmodern or even post-postmodern. But what is post-postmodernism actually? And what about post-postmodernism? For that you will have to stick till the end of the video. But first we'll talk about post-postmodernism. Post-postmodernism isn't a thing, yet. But some artists, journalists and even scholars use this term to describe current cultural phenomena. In post-postmodern works, postmodern techniques such as intertextuality, self-referentiality, stylistic pluralism and so on are used, but with one key difference. There's a lack of irony. Instead, post-postmodern works are weirdly sincere. Sometimes this phenomenon is also called post-irony or new sincerity. Some examples of works which me personally I think could be called post-postmodern, are the movies by Lars von Trier, the music of Gorillaz, or the cartoon series Adventure Time. So where can we find examples where this applies to Beethoven? But what about post-postmodernism? Let's look at the last two variations on Diabelli's Waltz. Variation 32 is a fugue. In a sense, it is very similar to the very first variation of this cycle. Just like in the Alla Marcia Maestosa, the melodic, harmonic and rhythmical material used by Beethoven is deliberately terrible. Beethoven again is making fun of Diabelli's theme, but probably also the genre fugue itself. The constantly repeated notes are comical. It is almost as if Beethoven is trying to imitate laughter. There is no question that Beethoven is being ironic again. Why? Well, fugues are a very serious genre of music, which has its origins in the Baroque epoch. You probably know the famous fugues from the Well-Tempered Clavier by Johann Sebastian Bach. Fugues have to follow a very strict set of rules and can be very tricky and complicated to write. Therefore, they often are considered as a proof of skills. It is no coincidence that even today, when studying composition, one very often has to write a fugue for the final exam. With a fugue like this, Beethoven never would have passed the exam. Beethoven actually doesn't break the rules, but he bends them to a point where they become absurd. At some point, the music turns from irony into sincerity. How? The joke outstays its welcome. What started as French ridicule slowly turns into hateful violence. The constantly repeated notes now rather resemble blows from a hammer or punches to the face. More and more the situation escalates until we find ourselves in manic rage. It's like an exorcism. It is as if Beethoven is trying to get rid of a demonic possession. The obsession with Diabelli's theme which has made him write this absurd amount of variations. The old Greek would call this katharsis, which means purification, cleansing or purgation. And then the music abruptly comes to a halt. Time freezes, the shock of sudden impact warps our perception. And then postmodernism. Postmodernism. No, Beethoven just subverts our expectations. From long gone days, a distant memory re-emerges. An incredibly beautiful menuet. Diabelli's waltz finally has been eliminated and cremated, and from its ashes rise solemn, peaceful melodies. But what seems to be new is actually very old. The menuet basically was, before the waltz became popular, the party music of the 1700s. And it was the dance of the aristocracy. Why does Beethoven use an aristocratic dance which has been out of fashion for many years? Beethoven, who in his younger years was a stern proponent of the ideals of the French Revolution. Has he become so old that he forgot his youthful dreams and hopes of equality, of overthrowing ancient societal hierarchies, of freedom? What is Beethoven trying to tell us? Is he even trying to tell us anything at all? Or is he just trolling us? But the music doesn't sound like Beethoven's just joking. At the end of this final variation, it seems as if the music is dissolving into nothingness. What at first glance seemed solid, concrete, real, turns out to be an amorphous, nebulous, dreamlike hallucination. The conceptions of time and reality have lost their meaning. Is Beethoven really being sincere and therefore kind of postmodern? Or is this on some absurd meta-level irony again? This is the point where the discussion on postmodernism begins. But more on this in the next episode. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below. Feel free to check out my music on Soundcloud and follow me on Instagram and Facebook. A huge thank you to my first supporter on Patreon, Daniel Gianocano. If you enjoy this content, please consider supporting me on Patreon too. It really helps a lot. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Postmodernism. Postmodernism. Postmodernism.